Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor, the Mayor who's not here, councillors. I've also got a quote that I'd like to say and start off with. Margaret Thatcher once said that the problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. So back in 2003, Dalton McGuinty, who you may have heard of from such scandals such as the e-health scandal, the G20 police laws, the Orange Air ambulance scandal, the cancelled gas plant scandal, and probably more, became the Premier of Ontario and called for a new transit board to be established. The Greater Toronto Transit Authority was created in 2006 with the passing of the Greater Toronto Transit Authority Act of 2006. The GTTA was later renamed Metrolinx. From the beginning, critics began voicing concerns about the dodgy GTTA, calling it out on issues such as its inability to manage its finances, its vague ideas and plans for overseeing roads and transits, and other issues such as how it tries to enforce its own plans on municipalities and their transit systems. Years ago, the TTC was speaking out about how Metrolinx was trying to control their transit system and take it over. We currently see Metrolinx and Presto taking money from our own system, which is going to increase every year. When the Move Ontario 2020 plan came out in 2007, McGuinty pledged $17.5 billion to start building LRTs and other transit lines under the control of the GTTA. This plan, however, was also tied to another plan of McGuinty's called the Places to Grow Act of 2005, which I'll touch on in a bit. When the 2015 budget came out, Minister Sosa announced a 10-year, $130 billion infrastructure push. This was going to be paid for by things brought in such as supermarket beer sales, a 3 cents a litre beer tax, the sell-off of Hydro One, and halting spending across the province. Today, many Ontarians in both the PC and NDP parties are fighting the Liberal government's 60% Hydro One fire sale. In 2016, it was estimated that taxpayers would see another $50 billion added to the debt and that the debt load would increase to $350 billion by 2021. In April 2016, the Globe and Mail did a piece about an FOI they filed in order to obtain information from the Ontario government's Climate Change Action Plan. The part that caught my eye was the mentioning of the estimated $2 billion annually the government will receive from the carbon tax that they will allocate to help fund some of our transit. This free money that we're getting is costing me everywhere I spend and is coming out of my pocket like 30 times a day. And what's even more disturbing is that along with this, the housing crisis that goes all the way back to McGuinty's policy called the Places to Grow Act from 2005. This includes designating where development can and can't happen across the Golden Horseshoe and addresses infrastructure items such as water, wastewater systems, hospitals, schools, and as you guessed it, roads and transportation. This act outlines the plans to over-densify and urbanize the core areas and cities, hence why some people enjoy the LRT route along King and Main and the future buildings of condos to jam-pack people into buildings instead of single-family dwellings. What we are currently seeing is young families unable to purchase homes and the cost of rent skyrocketing, make it impossible for people in the city to find a place to live that doesn't cost them 50% or more of their income. The plan to increase the population to increase the tax revenue is a dangerous game to play when the cost to live here is already too high for existing residents. So my question is this: why is the municipality and our locally elected representatives supporting a plan that was developed by a man who was forced out of his party, that has a current leader who's going to see the same fate in the coming months, a plan that requires money the province doesn't have and is selling my children's future to obtain something that's going to cost us all and more added taxes, levies, and fees? Are these the people we want to be taking advice from? With the track record they currently hold, should these be the people that we let tell us how we're going to spend our money that the city needs? While we watch our infrastructure crumble and sit on a $300 million deficit, is it our decision or their decision as to where this money should be spent? As a taxpayer, I'm questioning whether we live in a democracy, and if so, why are we being told that if we don't implement an ideology, we won't receive much needed money to fix our city? And in regards to the sewers in my roads argument that some councillors like to use, why is the province only covering like for like? Who's going to pay for the existing upgrades when we put in new condos and other development? This is obviously going to cost taxpayers. I see that the mayor has been a board member and founder of the Greater Toronto Transit Authority, Metrolinx, the Canadian Urban Institute, and sits on the board for an Electra, and this is a conflict of interest. I want to know through the environmental assessment, last year, there was a survey done by Smart Commute and showed 5.96% of Hamiltonians drive to work, another 10.9% carpooled, and only 13% took the bus. So is this an environmental issue? If so, why can't we look at getting electric buses so we keep the lanes in the road so those who decide to stay in their car, who are trying to be forced off the road, can do so at their own will? Also, is this about the infrastructure, which we are still going to have to pay for if we get these developments and build condos and other things, because it's only covering like for like, so again, I will have to pay? Or is this a Liberal ideology we are pushing when our council and mayor are supposed to be nonpartisan?
Sarah, your time is up. Thank you. Councillor Jackson.
Well, Madam Deputy Mayor, and in spite of the Mayor's admonishment an hour and a half ago, others have been just allowed to either ask a question or give a compliment. I just want to thank Sarah. I've always been impressed with the research she's done, regardless of what side of the issue you're on. And I also thought you did a good job on Bill Kelly's show today. You held your composure and poise and provided the facts from your perspective, Sarah. So thank you. Thanks, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Green? Thought you had, no? Okay, sorry. Thank you, Sarah.